Beneath every great castle, there lies a place that no bard would dare sing of, where the torchlight dies and mercy itself does not descend. The dungeon, the pit of screams, silence, and forgotten names. While kings dine above and laughter filled the great halls, below, men begged for water, rats feasted freely, and chains sang the chant of despair. This was not legend, this was daily life for the damned. And if walls could speak, the stones below the castle would whisper of horrors far darker than any battlefield. The dungeon's design. Medieval dungeons were not sprawling labyrinths like fantasy tales. They were simple, yet cruelly efficient. Carved into bedrock or hidden in castle basement, these chambers were damp, airless, and deliberately narrow, designed to break the body and the mind. Cells were often built beneath the keep, the most secure part of the castle. Walls were stone, the door iron, and the floor often mud mixed with waste. Many dungeons had oubliettes, vertical pits where prisoners were dropped and simply forgotten. No door, no escape, just the shaft of despair. The word itself, oubliette, comes from the French oublier, meaning to forget. And that's exactly what pits were for, to erase a human being from memory. Life behind bars. To live in the medieval dungeon was to breathe suffering. Prisoners slept on straw if they were lucky, and shared their cell with vermin, disease, and each other. Food was meager. Guards tossed in crust of bread or bowl of thin gruel, often crawling with maggots. Water came from the same bucket used for washing filth away, if it came at all. Disease spread like wildfire. Dysentery, plague, and the fever cut through captives faster than any sword. And yet, some survived for months, even years. Most dungeons weren't meant for long-term confinement. They were places of waiting, for ransom, confession, or death. Few entered without losing a part of their humanity before their sentence ever ended. Instrument of pain. Torture wasn't just punishment, it was persuasion. And in the depths of the castle, persuasion was an art form. The rack, a simple wooden frame that stretched limb until bones cracked. The strappado, where victims were hoisted by their arms tied behind their backs, dislocating shoulders in silence. And of course, the wheel, the thumbscrew, the branding iron, each with single purpose: obedience. Contrary to popular myth, medieval torture was regulated. Church and crown limited it, at least officially, to extract confessions, not to kill. But in the dark below, where no law could see, rules were often left behind. Above those same dungeons, kings ruled, his word law, his presence divine. And in the Alma Kingdom's king's crown, that legacy endures. Forged with intricate details and noble weight, it symbolized both majesty and burden, the endless balance between justice and mercy. For every crown worn in triumph, a shadow was cast below, where the price of power was paid in silence. It is not just a crown. It is an emblem of rule, responsibility, and the history carved into every kingdom's stone. The prisoners and their crime. Who were these souls chained in the dark? Some were thieves or traitors, others political enemies or prisoners of war, and many were simply victims of power. A peasant who couldn't pay his taxes, a merchant who angered a noble, a soldier who deserted in fear. Few had trials, fewer still had rights. Justice in the medieval world was a sword, not a scale. Yet even here, in the pit, stories of redemption lived on. Some were freed by ransom, others escaped through bribery, and a rare few were pardoned by mercy itself. But most names were never spoken again. They faded, absorbed by the stone, until only ghosts remained to tell their tales. Legacy of the Dungeon. Today, those dungeons still exist, beneath castles across Europe. Silent, cold, and eternal. Walk their halls, and you can still see the shackles in the walls, the scratch marks near the doors, the echoes of men who refuse to be forgotten. These are not just relics. They are reminders that every throne casts a shadow, that power and pain are twins, born from the same crown. In the end, the dungeon wasn't just a prison, it was a reflection of fear, control, and the darkest corners of human nature. And though centuries have passed, the lesson remains. Even in the depths, beneath stone and suffering, the human will endure. Because the dungeon may have belonged to the kings, but the spirit belonged to those who survived it. Thank you for watching, my great noble subjects. As always, remember to be brave, remember to be courageous, and most of all, my great kingdom, remember to believe in yourself. The journey continues. I yield the floor.